The straightforward answer is journaling, and today I will give you 6 prompts so that you can get rid of your fear. All of these prompts are in a serial wise fashion, so you have to follow each and every one. Let's begin with the first one. What's the worst thing that can happen if I do the thing I fear? Just as the question says, what is the worst thing that can happen once you do the task you fear the most? For example, you might fear asking out someone because you have the fear of getting rejected. So that means rejection is the worst thing that can happen. What many people think is, I will do the task, I will fail at the task, then I'll get depressed, then I'll get lonely, then I'll die. Something like this, something along the lines of this. And so most people don't understand that nothing is going to happen. And this is the value of the first question. It will make you understand that nothing will happen. What is the worst that can happen? That will only last for about maximum a week. After that, everything will be back to normal. And so this is the power of this prompt. Write down specifically what is going to happen in detail if you perform the task you are fearing to perform. Now comes prompt number 2. Write down 10 to 20 things that can go wrong. This is part of the 4C failure method, but it's a lot more detailed. And so you have to imagine and visualize and write down at least 10 ideas or 10 things that you will think that will go wrong and that will lead to your failure. This will help you to understand all of the possibilities on the path you are going to take. For example, you want to study a specific subject, but you don't think jobs will be available on that subject. That can be a possibility. Or second possibility can be the market is overrun by something else. Third is AI is taking over all the jobs. Similarly, write down at least 10 points that you believe could go wrong in your path. By now, you should have the definition of what is the worst thing that can happen and 10 to 20 things that could go wrong. Now comes the third prompt. What can I do to prevent each of the following from happening? Considering if you took my advice seriously, and which you should have a list of 10 things, right? From that 10 things, figure out how would you fix each and every one of them. For example, I mentioned the AI taking over all the jobs problem, right? What can you do to fix that? You can offer better customer service. You can offer services which cannot be done by AI or which requires a human to do. Or you can use AI in your own product so that you become more efficient than your competitors. See, I already give you 3 solutions. Similarly, write down at least one solution for each of the 10 problems you mentioned. You will soon come to realize they are not actually problems. They are excuses your brain is putting up so that it does not have to do the hard work. Prompt number 4. How can I fix the worst scenario if it happens? You already wrote down the worst scenario in the first question. Now you have to write down what are the things you can do to fix those problems. If you just struggle with your pen and paper and keyboard for 5 minutes, you will actually come up with a very nice idea to counter the biggest problem you are thinking that will happen. Because your mind will start generating ideas that yes, if this goes wrong, then I'll do this. Or if this goes wrong, I will do this. Similarly, you have to figure out, just as you did for the third question, you have to figure out what would you do if similar thing happens. Just as you figured out solutions for the 10 to 20 things that could go wrong, similarly you have to find a solution of what you would do if the first thing goes wrong. That means the worst thing happens. Now I personally haven't faced a rejection, so I cannot give you autistic advice on how to deal with that, but your brain will come up with a good idea, I'm sure of it, because I have come up with different good ideas on different situations just by using this framework. So now let's get to the fifth question. What are the benefits if you do the thing you fear the most? For example, someone might have a fear of heights, so they would rather not do different activities like paragliding or skydiving or something like this, bungee jumping. But what you have to think is what will be the result or the success or the good things that will happen once you attempt this. Number 1, your fear might be gone. Number 2, you will get to experience new things. Number 3, it will become a story of how you overcame. Similarly, you have to figure out what are the benefits if you attempt that event, or even if you don't succeed. Imagine you failed one of your exams. What would be the good things that will happen? Number 1, you will understand what are the type of questions that are gonna come, what is the level of the questions, similarly exam patterns and all of this, and so you will be more prepared for the next exam. Certainly, now don't go and fail in all of your exams to learn this, but what you have to understand is you have to be opportunistic in failures. You have to always seek out the good things. I know this sounds too much of a vague thing, like always seek out good things. This is like an advice a monk would give, but genuinely speaking, it works. And the last question, question number 6. This is the most powerful question, especially for topics which you want to do but you are scared of doing. This will give you an entirely new perspective to look at the thing. This might even make you fear not doing the thing you fear. such powerful it is. So the question is, if I don't do the thing that scares me right now, what will my life look like in 6 months, 1 year and 5 years? Going back to the rejection analogy, if you don't ask that person out, what will your life look like in 6 months, 1 year or 5 years? In 6 months, will you regret? In 1 year, will you look back on the memories and think that I should have done it? In 5 years time, would you be really missing out on a beautiful relationship you could have had? Ask this question to yourself and answer it truthfully. What are the consequences or the rewards that I will get if I don't do this thing after 6 months, 1 year and 5 years from now? Would you be happy? Would you be sad? Would you feel like you should have done the thing? Would you feel like it was a good choice not to do the thing? If you journal these 6 questions for about at least 15 minutes, you will come out as a man with a better judgment. You will take all of your emotional fear of thinking that this task will be hard, or I don't want to do this task, or this task is out of my comfort zone. You will take all of that aside. You will put all the questions in a piece of paper or somewhere digitally. You will go through all of them. You will answer all of them. And this will force you to think logically instead of emotionally. And so you will have a better judgment of things. Now, to figure out whether you should read more than one book or not at a time, go and check this one out. Or else, if you want to remain productive 100% of the time, then go and check out my God Mode schedule. I'll see you in the next one. Start if you haven't already.